Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
That's right, it's a live comic book review show here at ComicPop Returns and the subsidiaries of ComicPop here on YouTube, talking about the latest comic books that came out this week or this past week. And then we're going to talk about them, we're going to review them and tell you what we thought about them. And then we're going to recommend comics that come out this week that we think you should check out. Today is officially Tiffany's birthday. It is actually birthday time for Tiffany.
It is!
In the studio and
right.
outside the studio as well. Happy birthday, Tiffany.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much to all the kind people on the Twitters and the Instagrams for wishing a happy birthday to Tiffany.
Yes, thank you.
We're going to try not to spend too much time working on your birthday, but we wanted to talk about some comic books, so we figured we'd do that.
Sal was like, let's just take off. And I was like, no, let's do it. Like, let's keep this going.
Yeah.
You know, as we roll until like the end of the year.
Yeah, why not?
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, of course, if you want to sponsor today's show, you can keep the riff-raff out by using Super Chats. That's a question or comment. We'll read it here on the show, and we will incorporate it there. And, of course, if you want to help us out more directly, the best way to do so is just to like the video and subscribe to the channel and get notifications by clicking the bell so that you know when we are going live, so you can catch the show when it is live. For example, Jackson Boyd says, I can't catch the show live, but I wanted to thank you guys for the X-Men coverage. That's very much thanks to Tiffany entirely. After 4 months, I've read from Hawks and Pox to being all the way caught up, and that's thanks to ComicPop. Excited for what comes next.
Yay!
That's amazing, and thank you, Jackson.
That's
thank you very much for being here. That's amazing, and it's great. It's a testament to what we're trying to do here on this channel here.
Yes.
Lenny Laserdiscs also says, hey Tiff and Sal, I can't make it to the live stream tonight, but I wanted to say I've been enjoying the Current Williamson run on Superman. You should try and interview him one day. Haha. And most importantly, happy birthday to Tiffany.
Thank you.
Great idea, Lenny Laserdiscs. I will reach out to Mr. Williamson. I know he's very difficult to achieve, but I will try and reach out to him at some point. Maybe we could do a regular thing. That'd be nice. And Arduit says, ComicPop Woo would like to thank you all, Tiffany especially, for getting me into gaming. Just finished The Wake last night and it was beautiful. I also found out that reading the Dreigenberg did a few MTG Magic arts for quite a few cards. Oh, the Magic the Gathering cards.
Yeah.
Check out that art for Purgatory and Painter's Servant.
That's great. I love when Magic grab. I mean, like, listen, there's been quite a few artists who have worked with game and who then also went and did Magic the Gathering cards, which is incredible. But I was particularly enthused to find out that Junji Ito had done some
Magic the Gathering cards.
I believe it is.
You're kidding me.
I think
insane.
That's correct. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah.
I like the sometimes listen, I played the game. I played Magic for a little bit, but the fact was I think I was just there for the art on the cards.
Yeah, me too.
You know how Yu-Gi-Oh was all about the heart of the cards? Well, for Magic it was all about the art of the cards.
I've been hanging on to that one. That's good. Yeah, I definitely did not play Magic the Gathering. In high school, a bunch of friends of mine tried to get me to play, and I was like, we're already having a hard enough time. Like, why are we adding that to our lives?
Who cares? Just enjoy it.
Well, they were like, oh, just go buy another deck. Just go buy another deck. I'm like, with what money? Like, how will I buy another deck? Like, just go buy it. Just go to Models.
Get the booster packs.
That is all for Yug. I read Batman and Robin #3. Of course, this is a series from Joshua Williamson and Simone DeMeo, completely kind of doing its own thing. If you're not enthused by the Zdarsky run, don't feel bad because there's a book here for you. It is entirely its own thing, although it does pay homage / reference to the current continuity, but it is basically its own book. This introduces a new villain known as Shush, female Hush. Does she have an affiliation with Tommy Elliott? Only time will tell. We'll see about that. But this, of course, continues
the story. Are you being for real right now?
Oh, yeah. Shush is a real person who is essentially female Hush. Yeah. Shush. That's her name.
Okay.
Simone DeMeo's art continues to be the most interesting looking Batman book on the shelves today. I really enjoy just the real different quality to the art and how it just sets itself completely apart. Of course, that is also bolstered by the colors, which I believe DeMeo does himself. So yeah,
that's excellent.
It has a real cohesion to it, but it also is very much like it's easy to flow through the pages with it. Also, you'll miss details if you don't go back and really look at it because it all kind of comes together. Damian rejects his experience at high school. He went in the previous issue and he got treated like an idiot or a jerk, and he didn't like that because he's a sociopath. And so he's like, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. Batman's like, you have to do that. And he's like, give me a good reason. And Batman's like, I don't have one. And I'm like, fair enough. Also, Batman, of course, was hit with a pheromone in the previous issues, and the bats don't like him anymore. They don't want to go near him, or they'll attack him. But then it turns out that maybe it's a transformation serum as well. So
is he becoming a bat?
Yeah, that's
Does
exactly.
Does he speak bat?
Yeah,
Are you speaking bat?
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. So Batman turns into a giant bat at the end of the issue. It's a fun issue. Continues to be. It goes in two different directions. White Rabbit is under she's under the gun. She's being chased after by Shush for information that she may or may not know. She seems to be an idiot, like most rabbit-based characters in the Marvel or DC universes. And it's just a fun little chase issue. Mostly, it's just Batman and Robin chasing after people.
Okay.
So I really, I quite enjoyed it, and it especially felt more like it was very self-contained. It felt like a Batman book. Felt like a Batman and Robin book. Very much about that.
Okay.
Not connected to the whole universe, not connected to what's going on in the Bat family and all that stuff. So yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Just really quickly, just getting our feet wet here. I read Hexagon Bridge number 3. It's just a good book.
Yeah.
What else am I going to talk to you about? You know what I mean? It's all done by Richard Blake. Writing, art. It's just a phenomenally beautiful book.
Yes.
I just love the art of the story. Just these beautiful little moments. Just so lovely. Just very much up my alley. And honestly, I dig the story. I think it's going to read a little better put together.
Oh, naturally.
For sure. There's a lot going on. We're dealing with made up technologies. We're dealing with, the sci fantasy elements here. We do have some telekinesis, that kind of stuff, or telepathy going on as well. There's a lot of layers to it, and I just feel like when it's all put together, it's going to read really, really great. But I want to support this book
totally
month to month, and so I've been continuing to do that. And I have no problem owning a book in a digital space and then also purchasing
the hardcover,
or
the physical copy.
And I want to talk about that later with another book that as much as I love a good physical copy, and I did actually get a chance to grab a physical of number 1 of this, so I want that number 1, and then I'm going to grab the trade of it. Inevitably, right?
I hope that it is in a different printing style, because I do love the book. I wish it were printed in the format that it seems to be in.
Sure. That would be really, really lovely if they printed it to the specs that it should be.
Right.
But I get them not doing it individual necessarily. I get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, later on I want to talk about the differences between a physical and a digital, because sometimes I really want that physical copy, and sometimes the read I think is better digitally. And we'll talk more about that.
That certainly was the case with the Snyder Capullo run for me.
Sure. But yeah, this book is just gorgeous. I really like the story that is unfolding, the parts that I'm like, oh, okay, wait, I think I remember what's going on here. And again, a lot of times when it comes to science fiction, which this probably leans a little more science fantasy than science fiction.
Okay.
But sometimes when you don't have all that laid out in front of you, sometimes you need to go back and reference a term or an earlier concept to make sure you understand what's going on currently. Because it really, a lot of times for me, science fiction, science fantasy, it builds on itself.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to get this all put together, but I really do love where this is going. And this one definitely left on a bit of a cliffhanger, where it's one of those where it's just off panel, someone says something, and then it's just we don't know who it is.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like,
it's a great comic book convention.
It is a great comic book convention to have. So those types of moments are often lost in those trades, but in an individual, just a great book. Again, so it's a little sleepier. I think it's a little it's quiet. But I think it might hit if you know some folk who maybe maybe some Miyazaki stuff. There's something about it. There's something even if it's not even remotely close to those types of concepts, although it is a little like Castle in the Sky. You got this AI robots kind of thing. We got that concept in here, but then there's all this mixture of the woods and just different cultural elements to it as well. It might be a good book to get some folks who maybe don't read a lot of comics. They might like this.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about I'm automatically thinking about this December holiday gift giving season.
Sure.
So I'm trying to help you guys out.
Yeah. Fair enough. You want to go into the X-Men, or do you want to
let's talk really quickly about Spine-Tingling Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Number 2. I read that.
Yep.
Freaking man. man, I love this book.
Yeah.
I really love this book. Saladin Ahmed, Juan Ferreira. There's something simultaneously so like modern. There's like this air of total modernity in terms of like the type of horror it's telling. But also like some old school comic book conventions that you'll find in it, whether it be like Peter talking about like, oh, this would be so easy if I only had my power still, you know what I mean, like that reminder.
Yes
for
like
you,
keeping the reader like updated,
and like having it happen more than once in the same issue.
Well, it may be because, or it may be deliberate. I feel like Saladin Ahmed is a pretty modern writer, and so he's aware of those conventions. Conventions is our word of the day. But I also noticed that the font choice, like the titling for it, is the 90s. So it could be that they're trying to evoke that kind of feeling.
Sure, for sure. But I have no problem with it. I like it quite a bit.
It fits this format.
Well, you know what it is? It's making its own thing entirely, and I appreciate it because, again, like it has this air of modernity, but then to have these like nostalgia conventions, these older, like you said, like 90s
these tropes,
these sort of tropes like peppered in there, it kind of keeps you off guard, and you're not really sure. You're like, your footing isn't quite
right. It throws you off,
which is great.
Yeah, for a horror book. That's
right?
exactly what it's supposed to do.
And there's a panel in this, and I freaking loved it. And I know plenty of artists have used like a panel like this, but I haven't seen one in a while. And it literally is just a full vertical panel.
Oh yeah, okay.
But it's not. It's like a portion of the page. It's maybe a fifth or a fourth of the page, and it was used so well to show the running. It's back. You missed it. It's back. To show back. One more again. There it is. To show the length of a train car.
Oh, okay.
And I really appreciate it quite a bit. And it seems longer than it should be. Again, creating this, like in your nightmares where it's like you want to run, you want to do this, you want to do whatever. And I really appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
Especially with the kind of like the hint for the next issue. I was like, oh wait, what are we doing with this? So I'm excited to see where this is going.
Nice.
There was a moment where it felt like, oh, maybe we were getting a little bit out of the horror stuff, and maybe it was going to be a little bit more conventional,
like a comic, like a superhero Spider-Man kind of thing.
But no, we dive right back into it. Like just a great book. The art feels a little like Steve Niles-y, but not. It's its own thing. It's its own thing entirely, but it has like a little few of those hallmarks there. That's that panel. I just really enjoyed it. I was like, that's really great.
Yeah.
I really had a good time.
Yeah, they're playing with the format a little bit and playing with your expectations.
Yeah, certainly. What's funny with this is that I wasn't sure how I was going to feel reading this as we were moving out of like spooky season. A lot of people are looking for the horror hit come October, and some books started a little earlier so they'd be wrapping up. But a lot of books like just launched in October. Snyder put out The Dungeon.
Yes.
This launched, and I was able to just jump right back into it and just get back into that mindset of it being like spooky and horror. And I can't wait to one day do this on the couch.
Yeah,
very much looking forward to it.
I think that would do well. I think that'd be fun.
I just want to share it with you all because it's like I'm just really feeling it.
Yeah. I'm disappointed to say there are a number of books that came out this past week that I skipped because I think I'm just kind of off the book, and I want to just apologize for like having a lighter week because Daredevil came out. I'm done with that book. Like I'm off. There's nothing about it that appeals to me anymore.
That's fine.
Immortal Thor. I think it's a great book, and I'm just too bored by it. It's a very well written book, but it's just a little too high concept for what I'm looking for right now from Thor. And I'm happy that it's working out. And I really do recognize that it is a great series, but it's just not hitting me where I want to read right now.
You know what though? Like I've seen you a few times.
And I can revisit it and
find it. Well, with books, I'm looking at you, Rorschach, where it was something where you're like, I'm not feeling this. I don't necessarily care for it. And then later on, when it came out in trade, you were like, I get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes it's just reading month to month is a very different experience from reading a trade.
Yeah.
When you have that all together, you have a totally different read than the person who read month to month.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
And so it may just be one of those things where it's like you loop back around to it come, it's out in trade and you're like, all right, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah. But I should give a quick shout out to Daredevil, at least for the cover. I think this is some of John Romita Jr.'s best work in a long time. And so we just, because John Romita Jr., has faced a lot of negative criticism for his art over the years. Maybe he should move into more cover work. I don't know. I was thinking about this recently because one of our comic book stores was having a sale, and we availed ourselves of their books and their sale quite extensively. But one of the conversations they were having was about Alex Ross and like all the work he's doing for Marvel. And it occurred to them, and I don't know if it was necessarily like telling tales out of school or if it was just conjecture, but like the idea that Ross doesn't have the time to do like a series. Like Ross's like his timetable doesn't afford like him to do month to month or weekly. He can't do bi-weekly, he can't do monthly. Like he just can't keep up with it. But instead of doing like a 28-page book, he could do 28 covers.
Yeah, but
and that's why he's doing more cover work.
I have seen him do some crummy covers, though.
Well, the covers,
too.
It's at the end of the day, whatever, it's what the assignment is, right? I mean, like he did a ton of Dan Slott Spider-Man covers, and I think that while they are all spectacular because of the artistry that was involved, most of them didn't need to exist at all. Like there's with Alex Ross, it's like there is like almost like a like I need it. It needs to exist.
I agree. I just think occasionally with Ross, like, and there's nothing wrong with the skill itself. It's just sometimes it feels like it is an assignment.
Yeah.
Like it's an assignment.
Yeah.
And so there's something like, and I'm not saying that they're bad,
no,
but it's just they're not
his best work.
Right. It's not going to always be your best work, but but then because you're being compared to yourself, you're going to you can't help it. You can't help but look at them and go like, this is not great.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and you don't want to say it's a waste of their time, but it's like, they're fine.
Well, and the funny thing is,
but I would say that with GAR Jr.
Yeah. With
like,
JR,
it's more often I've seen covers that I'm like, no.
Oh yeah. No, they're mostly not great.
Yeah.
But I thought that Daredevil was pretty great. It's funny, the Alex Ross thing, I was just thinking about how, personally speaking, I've never liked his Spider-Man.
Oh, interesting.
So with very like brief exceptions, like his portrayal in Marvels. But Alex Ross is not my favorite Spider-Man artist, and him doing like 100 Spider-Man covers or whatever wasn't exactly what I was looking for.
I mean, he did put Doom riding a mechanical dinosaur, so
no, it's not a dinosaur. It is an alternate reality version of Doom who is also a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Those are two Dooms.
Oh, excuse me. From the tiny thumbnail, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, no, I wanted to point out that like these two team up and fight a dinosaur, Ben Grimm, as well.
Is there what is it with Marvel and dinosaurs?
I think that it's a holdover.
And when is that like? It wouldn't necessarily be a Sinister Six, but I'm thinking like there's the Venom T-Rex, and now there's like Doomed like T-Rex.
The V-Rex. Yeah.
Where's the rest of the T-Rexes?
Oh my god, it's a V-Rex. That's funny.
It's a V-Rex.
I don't know, like the Council of Rexes. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, don't forget we also have the B-Rex over in DC because Batman is a Tyrannosaurus Rex there too.
That's true. That's true. How many super villains or heroes can we make into dinosaurs?
Yeah, that's a great question, and good for the comments down below.
Does it have to have the like?
No, it doesn't have to have the rhyming scheme. I think that's just
at this point it does though. B-Rex, V-Rex, and D-Rex.
Yeah, but B-Rex can't team up with the D and
I know,
T-Rex,
but I'm just saying, like we've got this convention going.
I know, it's true. Getting back into the super chats really quick. Hulkzilla says, "Happy birthday, Tiffany! Much love to the ComicPop crew as always." Thanks, Hulkzilla. Appreciate the support. Silas Loudon, happy birthday and thanks for the laughs.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Silas, for your generosity, and we're doing it for the lulz.
Thank you.
AKA 480. Happy birthday, Tiffany! What are your thoughts on Spider-Man 2? Well, you can find out Tiffany's thoughts in real time on twitch.tv/ComicPop or at youtube.com/ComicPop. Plays, or in the chat down in the description below this video you can find links to every channel we have.
I'm still working through it. He's finished it, so we haven't had a chance to really talk about it because he's just waiting for me to get through the game, because I'm only playing it when I play it live with everyone in the community.
Exactly.
But so far, the game's keeping me on my toes. There are a lot of things I like about it. This game has made me realize, at least this portrayal of him, like that Kraven's just a jerk.
Oh yeah, he is a big jerk.
Like literally, like I've like working through it. I'm at I don't want to say where I am. I don't want to spoil it for anyone else necessarily.
No, of course.
But watching Kraven basically allow his minions to do all the work and then literally just roll up and take advantage of a situation. I'm like, So I'm sorry. Why are you the greatest hunter? It seems like you're a good manager.
Yeah, he is.
With a lot of money.
Right. Definitely.
Is that what your whole thing is?
Well, that's why they show him like wrestling a rhino or whatever, just to show how he's pretty strong.
But yes, but so far, like really enjoying it. I think the voice actors are doing a great job.
Yep.
Really, really great job. I appreciate how real a lot of people look.
Yeah.
Like folks just roll. And I'm like, that's just a guy. Yeah,
that's true.
Right, cool.
Yeah. Some of the mechanics or some of the visuals on our main characters are a little funky, but it's not because of necessarily the design. Although I do miss the original design of Peter.
Okay.
I
was thinking like Norman. For some reason, there's something about
Norman just looks like
I'm
a
like,
guy.
usually you're just a dude. Like you could exist.
Yeah.
Like I really like that. That really like draws me in.
Yeah.
And I love web swinging so
much.
Yeah,
no, it's amazing.
Like just oof.
Right. Lataro Medina says, "Hey, happy birthday, Tiffany." And hello, Sal. Hello. Did you hear that apparently Gail Simone is writing the new X-Men comic for Free Comic Book Day?
I read it.
No. Do you think she would be a good pick to take over after Krakoa? I did not hear that. Congratulations to her. Thanks for your super chats, by the way. That's very helpful.
Yeah. Thank you.
And no, I think let's say this. I think Gail Simone is a fine author, and I've enjoyed some of her work. And I'm sure that she'd be a good pick for the X-Men. I don't know if I like her work enough for me to keep reading X-Men. If they were like, ladies and gentlemen, Gail Simone's taking over X-Men after this, I'd be like, oh, cool. Well, enjoy.
I think it's just going to depend on what they do. You know, like I don't
know. Where are they going?
I don't know how I'm going to feel post Fall of X. I don't know if this is going to be like the less about like whether or not like it's like, oh, it's not going to be the same. Like I'm not really that person. It's more like I'm like, is this an opportunity for me to feel like, do I feel satisfied?
Yeah.
If I feel satisfied with the Fall of X, I might just be done. You know, I don't know. I can't guess at this point in terms of her like taking over. I think whoever takes over next needs to have a clear and present goal.
Yes.
And I think as long as they have that, like it'll have better success than just forcing it upon someone.
No, they need to like adhere to this new explanation. Like Jerry Duggan is directing the line. That's the way it should be. Like it's working. You know, Hickman directed the line. Duggan directed the line. This is they need to keep that up.
Yeah,
I think it's working. But yeah, what else do we read?
Let's talk about this one because I have it here ready to go.
I think that's a great idea.
This came out this week. I'm not going to get too much into this. This is rated M for mature. Heads up, folks. If you're picking this book up, this one's not pulling any punches. This is James Tynion IV with art by Joshua Hickson. It's the Deviant, A Christmas Story. It is not. Listen, it's Tynion. All right, if you know Tynion, it's going to be a horror story, and this one, like I said, it is not pulling any punches. It's also a chunky boy coming in at $6 as well, but you get a lot of book for that. This book is a story about the holidays and serial killers or something. I'm not sure what it is yet, and I don't think we're supposed to. It's like Tynion coming up with his own story. Plus, I don't know. It feels like there's like elements of like Sandman here. Of course, I'm probably thinking of the serial convention. There's elements of Silence of the Lambs in this as well. There's a lot going on in this book. Now, I had it physical. I also read it digital. You know, I was like, I have to get a copy of this book. I need a physical copy of this book, right? But I read it digital first, and then I picked up my physical copy of it. And I love having the physical copy of a book like this. I will say, like, there are like big splash pages. Like, this is the credits page, and this looks really cool. This book looks a lot cooler in digital.
Oh no!
Because there's no staple, or there's no gutter. There's no like center line for some of these pages where there's like these gorgeous splash pages, and when you read it digitally, they present that to you as one big image. There was a moment in this, you were editing, so I don't know if you heard me, but I gasped as I came upon a page, and I was like, wow, okay, that was a legitimate reaction. And when I looked at it in here, it's cool, but I don't know if I would have had the exact same reaction to it. Just this gorgeous, it's just gorgeous, and it's scary, and it's so much fun. It has a lot of those hallmarks that I like. You know, we're dealing with serial killers, we're dealing with real people, we're dealing with the snow. It feels cold and just kind of crummy. looking forward to where this book goes. I have no idea where it's going, but I will warn you, it is mature on many levels. We're dealing with like there's a lot of gore in this.
Yeah.
There is violence. There are like adult and mature ideas going on in this. So I want to give you that heads up. If that is not something you're interested, don't grab this. But if you do like Tynan's work in horror, you might like this, and it's just in time for the holidays.
Great. Yeah. No, I've definitely seen a clear and like very definitive line between reading digital and reading physical.
Yeah.
I think I'll always want to read physical, but I think the digital has a lot of strengths.
It does.
Associated
It
with
does.
it. And some of those books, like just preserving the pace,
yep,
and preserving the experience of like surprise. I mean,
yeah,
with comics, you know, they've been made for so many decades that you know they know how to present a story by physically reading a book
mm-hmm.
and turning pages and having those moments, or building pacing through panel layout. But digital added a whole new ball game. It's a real shame what happened with Comixology and everything.
No, well, I mean, I'm going to try it out once it moves over. I'm going to see how it goes.
Yeah, we got it.
And I'll report back. Additionally, too, like I found that because it is digital, obviously the colors are more vibrant, which gives you definitely a different read on it, but it also ups the contrast. And this is a pretty dark toned and dark like colored book. Like it's just they're really leaning into the fact that it's night and there's snow and stuff like that. That punch came across in the digital space, and maybe a little less so here, but that may have to do with the printing, because a lot of times with physical or with like individual issues, they don't go the best on the paper for these. So the trade for this might look even better though. So yeah, absolutely.
That's fair. So I read Superior Spider-Man. I guess we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Superior Spider-Man #1. This is the continuation of the series. I know that there was another Superior Spider-Man kind of like bonus issue that whetted your appetite, that introduced the new series to you from Dan Slott. This is, of course, it's written by Dan Slott with art by Mark Bagley. Interesting because Mark Bagley, I don't think drew much, if any, of the Superior Spider-Man run when it was in its heyday, which is very much like the kind of headline of the series, which is like, hey, remember Superior Spider-Man? And if, you know, Marvel had its druthers back when we were telling them, hey, when you bring back Peter, make a continuated series called Superior Spider-Man to keep those readers going. They're not all going to keep reading if it's called Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
But you know, we know how that story ended, and it ended with a one more day for Doc Ock for some reason. But this is essentially a flashback book. It's doing a lot of work for like what is the like latest era of Dan Slott's Spider period. You know, Dan Slott's early Spider-Man period was like, he's lucky to get Spider-Man, so he's going to give you kind of like fan service moments. Like that's early Dan Slott. Dan Slott having Spider-Man fight Powdered Toast Man. Dan Slott having Spider-Man show up in other books that he's working on, like She-Hulk at the time. Then there was the like Brand New Day era for Dan Slott Spider-Man, where he was like, all right, here is my audition tape for writing Spider-Man. He was working with other, you know, some big time Hollywood writers, other big time Spider-Man writers like Roger Stern. He's competing with all these different people, eventually comes out on top, gets to be the sole Spider-Man writer. And then he's like, all right, now I'm just going to give you my Spider-Man. And during that period, he really, really hit the gas when it came to big time and ultimately spinning into Superior Spider-Man. Of course, Spider-Island, one of the best Spider-Man events of all time, despite the fact that he's also like one of the most divisive Spider-Man creators in modern history. But yeah, his Superior Spider-Man run, most people agree, you know, may have had a couple of moments where you were like artificially kicking the can down the road. I see you, Spider-Man fighting Spider-Man 2099. But you know, for the most part, it was a slam dunk, and it was a success. It worked, despite it being super divisive in presentation, and Dan using social media to kind of like promote it via controversy, which is very much a Marvel strategy. You know, get them pissed off. If they're bored, they'll leave. If they're pissed, they'll stay.
Right.
You know, if they're so pissed they'll leave, they were going to leave anyway. You were never going to make them happy. So there was always going to be a moment where they're going to leave. But if you make them just pissed enough to stay, they'll stay forever.
Oh, great.
And they'll be mad forever. But, you know,
who doesn't want that?
Right, exactly. Who doesn't want to just, like, monetize rage? But Superior Spider-Man, this series, is doing a number of other things that like latest that you know, new Dan Slott, or this period of Dan Slott is known for. Most importantly, of course, is his creation of Bailey, his Miles Morales. And when I say Miles Morales, I mean like young new Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the motivation behind it besides like, wouldn't it be fun if, and I hope that is from the spirit of creation. That's what it is. Wouldn't it be fun if there was this like mystery character that showed up who no one remembers and flew in the face of what Spider-Man is known for? If Spider-Man had a junior character, like a junior sidekick, what if Spider-Man had a Robin?
Right.
And
Okay.
that's Bailey, the Spider Boy. But it also is convenient that it's coming around the time of like two very successful, one Oscar award winning Miles Morales centric Spider-Man movies, and like Spider-Man. And AAA title video games, including one entire video game dedicated just to Miles, just kind of comes out of this left field where you're like, oh, and also Bailey, and he's super important, and he was always there, and in fact, he predates Miles. It just feels very like,
right.
Oh, me too, and I'm like, right on. Look. He's one of the longest running Spider-Man creators. No question he loves the character. I understand that kind of motivation. But, Bailey, his problem is he insists upon himself. No, I'm kidding. He does. But like, this is the period we're in for Dan, where it's like, we are pushing Bailey. Bailey was there.
We got to get Bailey working.
We got to get Bailey working, and we need it to establish. Like, of course, Bailey was never there. Bailey is a retcon, but how do we firmly establish Bailey? Well, we say that he was there for like every seminal moment, and that gives me, Dan Slott, who created Bailey and only knows where Bailey was, an opportunity to tell every single Spider-Man story or every single greatest Spider-Man story again with Bailey. He was actually there, and here's what he did. And it's like, oh my God. And so this book is essentially two stories. It's a present day and a flashback. The flashback is, what was Bailey doing when Superior Spider-Man took over? What was going on with Bailey? And remember, of course, if Bailey is not on screen, you have to have all your main characters ask, where is Bailey? But that's your backup story, is like, what was Bailey up to during Superior Spider-Man? And essentially, Doc Ock treated him like a piece of shit, and he like kicked him out of there, and he went and Bailey went to go like stay with the Futures Foundation. There you go. Explains that. There's the other present day story, which is of course that like there's a retcon that Dan did in the previous Superior Spider-Man story. I believe it was like same year, this year, like it was a one shot where they established that like there was a character that I believe he invented during Big Time that was part of the Horizon Labs group, that eventually essentially got screwed over by Doc Ock when he was Spider-Man, and she became a new hot supervillain, and she was put on ice from her retcon to now, so that now Spider-Man can fight her, and so he does. And also Doc Ock is there, and he needs to figure out, like, he's missing memories, and so he eventually discovers like, he actually discovers how like the Peter Parker is Spider-Man again for like the 10th time.
Sure.
Via goblin methods, not deliberately, but Dan knows exactly what references I'm making here because he made them himself. And it's when Green Goblin Norman Osborn figured out who Peter Parker or Spider-Man was for the first time, it's because he followed him. And Pete's like spider sense was, I believe, dulled in that story, but in this case it's overwhelmed in this one. And then he just like followed him to an alley and just watched him change his clothes, which is creepy in a lot of levels, but no less effective.
Sure. Right.
And so, that's what he did. He followed him home, or he followed him to an alley, but one of his Octobots actually did recorded it. So it's actually even more gross. Filmed the disrobing and then brought it back to Doc Ock, where that unlocked all of his memories. Now he's like, now I remember. Right. So actually, if you're looking for like present day Superior Spider-Man, he doesn't exist yet.
Okay.
He hasn't. Doc Ock has not yet become Superior Spider-Man, if he indeed ever does. But Bailey, though, and so keep an eye out for Bailey.
So
big deal character.
So I'm sorry, can you go over for me, for my own need to know, when was Bailey supposedly, when did he start hanging out with Spider-Man?
I don't really actually know what the like official timeline is for Bailey, because there isn't one, and we're making it up as we go.
Right, because like, doesn't this cause problems for when Spider-Man might have failed someone?
Yeah, like yeah. Well, it's essentially very similar to that episode of Community where they established that Jack Black's character, I believe his name is like Barney or something, was there the whole time.
Right.
And so they like reshot scenes where he was there in the background of every scene.
Right, but like there's a difference there because there's a show with only so many episodes, and this is the very long running history of a character.
Yeah, no. If I trusted anybody to figure it out, Dan's on the list of people that I would trust to figure it out. I just don't want him.
It feels a little, and I want to remain positive about this.
Of course.
Because I know for a fact that Dan Slott loves Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Like, I know he loves it. He loves the world. He loves all of it. Right. But this plus the the whole Franklin Richards thing.
Oh yeah,
it just feels like Dan just is working on his own.
Right. Like nobody mess with Dan, or when you
or like not even that, like not that, like I don't mean to. I'm not saying anything. I'm not accusing anyone.
Exactly.
Like, it just feels like he's kind of doing his thing and they're doing their thing.
Right.
But also that's like a shame. Like, I don't know. Like I want everybody working together.
I
know that's literally how no office really works.
Yeah,
like
but don't forget that like
my office doesn't work like that. Like
yeah, but your example of Franklin Richards is actually very interesting because of course he doesn't work with other people, or at least he doesn't work with other groups, but he can influence them. So like Franklin Richards was a big important character in Hickman's plans for Hawks and Pox and the X-Men ongoing, but then Dan Slott decided, no, actually, I don't like that, and so he changed him arbitrarily, and then kept him in his corner in his Fantastic Four book, because otherwise, who knows what could happen to Franklin Richards.
Right.
I don't want to leave that character open or allow Hickman to usurp that character, because Franklin Richards is essential to any Fantastic Four comic book.
Right.
Except for all the issues where he didn't exist, and then all the issues where he's sidelined, and then all the issues where he is too powerful to actually be utilized as a character, which is to say over 500 issues of Fantastic Four.
I guess it's just interesting too, because like it's not like it's like we've seen that happen before with like small characters where like there's just a person working over there and they're just working on the character and it doesn't matter. It's fine.
Right. Like
they're just doing their thing.
You might even almost maybe Jed McKay, but he's also, he's everywhere.
Yeah.
But if he was only doing Moon Knight, it'd be like, yeah, right on.
Yeah. Like he's just doing his thing. It's, he's making big swings, making changes. It's like, it's cool, but I don't know.
Yeah. It actually reminds me very much of what's his name was doing with Who's He What's It, that was a really helpful sentence.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, the who was it? Oh, Jason Aaron, when he was doing Avengers. He's like, the world almost blew up, and literally no other books are referencing it or using it in any way.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, Echo's the Phoenix, and Hickman's like, sure she is. Jason, knock yourself out. It's just very much over there.
It's just interesting, and I guess in my head, much like the characters work together, I want to see all of them working together, but it's not the reality.
No,
it's not the reality of interprofessional relationships.
Exactly.
By the way, someone asked what my earrings are. I haven't worn these in a while, but I figured I can wear them for this episode. I can't wear them for super long. They're actually Han and Leia action figures that are painted gold, and they're earrings.
Yeah. I did not notice them before.
I could literally only wear them for so long, and I was like, I can wear them for this episode.
Getting into these super chats really quick. Ray Farr says, ComicPop woo to you too. Thanks, man. Happy birthday, Tiffany. I hope you get all the cool hats.
Thank you.
Can Sal suggest any good comics with Madam Web in them? Never liked her the animated series episodes. There's only one, and it's the one where Spider-Man defends her against the Juggernaut. I believe it's called something like Nothing Can Stop the Juggernaut. But yeah, it's a fantastic issue. It shows it's one of the top Spider-Man issues of all time, because it is it's representative of who Spider-Man is and how he refuses to give up and all of that stuff.
It's called something like Nothing Can Stop the Juggernaut, or called exactly
Nothing Can Stop the Juggernaut from Amazing Spider-Man number 229. So if you're looking to dig deep, go pick up a copy of Amazing Spider-Man 229. Because that's pretty much the only issue I could ever recommend that has Madam Web. Arduit also returns. So you are correct. Junji Ito did do a few cards for Magic the Gathering, and they're absolutely beautiful and terrifying.
I thought so, because when I was at that Junji Ito like museum thing. The art was there, and I was like, I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
I think I'm remembering that correctly.
There's also a few cards with Bob Ross art. I did not know.
I believe that.
And happy birthday, Tiffany, and
Thank
lol
you
to
so
shush.
much. Thank you, and thank you to everybody for the kind birthday wishes.
Yeah,
it's very sweet of you.
Shush. Superior John, happy birthday, Tiff. First time I can catch the show live or donate, and I wanted to say how much I love everything on the channel. That's great, John. Thank you so much. So what do you think of Insomniac? Do you think Insomniac will adapt Superior Spider-Man? Without getting into it much, I will say yes. And thanks for your generosity, man. But yeah, I think we're going to see. I mean, Insomniac has access to every Spider-Man story, so they could do anything.
They could do whatever they want.
They could do whatever they want. But I do think Superior Spider-Man will happen.
Except Spider-Man versus Batman, or
Yeah, we can't have that. Yeah. Well, actually, if anybody could, Insomniac could get away with it more than the comics. Owen just picked up the massive Superman War World trade this week, and oh my god, it's incredible. I don't read hardly any soups, but this quickly made me a fan.
Nice.
Yeah, man. War World's a very popular book. People love War World, and I also picked up the copy of the trade as well, so we'll see how it goes. Also, Cooter not being able to keep up on art with Daredevil after only 3 issues is pretty ridiculous, and somehow the fill-in art is much better, in my opinion. Yeah, that's a shame. I wasn't really a big fan of Cooter's art on Daredevil anyway, but yeah. And Flywheel Shyster, I wake up with the Weekly Planet and settle down with Off the Rack. Garfield, eat your heart out. These Mondays ain't blue. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Thanks, Flywheel. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for your support.
Listen, we are very flattered to be
in that kind of company.
In the same sentence as the Weekly Planet.
Yeah, those guys are incredible.
Yes.
You read Jean Grey.
I did. Jean Grey.
This is the end, right?
Yep, this is the end of this miniseries, written by Louise Simonson with art by Bernard Chang, Louise Urweezy.
Yep.
Ashes to Ashes. Love the name of this.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, what was this all about at the end of the day? The Phoenix.
Yes.
And I love it.
Yep.
It's so smart.
Finally.
We have Krakoa is not really like focused at all on the Phoenix, which I appreciate. It doesn't always.
It's amazing how
the Phoenix.
much restraint there was.
So much restraint, but you have this opportunity, and like Simonson came out of the gate swinging with this one. I loved that first issue, and I loved every issue afterwards. It felt like it was a bunch of what ifs that mattered. It's Jean Grey examining, what went wrong. Could she have saved more people? Was it her mistakes? And this final issue has her facing those mistakes yet again, or like the result of the actions that she changed. Like things are starting to like meld and change and mingle, and she has to face that now too.
Yeah.
Like, what was it all about? What's happening? And the Phoenix is a part of it, and I really don't want to ruin it for you all. I do highly recommend you read this issue, but there are some spectacular, really quiet moments between Jean and the Phoenix, and I gotta tell you, like, Chang just knocked it out of the park for these moments where Jean is talking to the Phoenix, and I love this moment where as like Jean's remembering what happened at the gala when she died, and she has the Phoenix, she's like, why didn't you come to me?
Right.
And I was like, I don't know. There's something about that like really gutted me. And the Phoenix is like, how could I'm dead as well. Like what? And it's just little.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like I love like seeing the Phoenix small and just,
vulnerable maybe.
Yeah, and then 2 of them talking.
Right. Yeah.
And they do, of course, end this with like,
I was Echo. I'm sorry.
Question marks. Is this the end?
Yeah.
Like we'll
Spoilers,
see.
No.
Well, they literally say like Jean's adventures will continue in Immortal X-Men.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Exactly. But will we get another Jean book?
Like, what will it be like? Like who will it be? What's going on there? So if you're reading Immortal, this will supplement that. So if you are a fan of Immortal X-Men and you want a little bit more as to why Jean is in that book, you can circle back around, pick up these 4 issues. They're just a great read. It's just good storytelling. Louise does a phenomenal job of like just telling a modern comic.
Yeah.
She's been writing comics for a while.
Yeah, decades.
A lot of writers aren't able to tell a story without using like maybe conventions they used back when they were maybe in their heyday.
Yeah.
But she just does. And it feels like a little bit of a love letter to Jean without being just too sappy. And like, Jean Grey is amazing. It's just more like, hey, like, let's talk about it.
Right. She's a big character. She's a founding member of the X-Men.
Yeah, let's talk about let's
examine
some of her moments and allow Jean in the mentality that she's in look back on these events.
Yes.
It's just cool. Really great book. I highly recommend it. Again, it's only those 4 issues. It's over. It's done. You can go grab them all.
That's great. Bryce Harriet, happy birthday.
Thank you.
We live in a world with 3 ongoing Flash books, and they're all introduced new speedsters. Sounds right up with the Flash fans and redundancies. Yeah, I'm telling you, Flash fans love Flash people. They love runners. They're just like, hey, wait a minute. You're fast? Welcome to the family. There's 100 of us. Let's all run. Good for them. Hayden Hamilton, my puppers is feeling down, so I'm down. Been listening to reruns of back issues all day to cheer myself up. Thank you for your media and time, as always. Thank you, Hayden, for being here, as always. We do appreciate it, and we wish your dog the very best.
Yeah, hopefully he's feeling better.
Yeah. We also have, of course, the Dark X-Men #4. This is, of course, the triumphant return of everyone's favorite character, Chasm. Everybody was talking about it, including ourselves, and I think we talked about this before, so I don't need to reiterate it. But yeah, there was some conjecture about like the use and availability of Chasm.
Right.
Maybe Chasm will be like a new, hot, awesome member of the Dark X-Men. Maybe he'll be some kind of foil for them.
I just assumed that Maddie was going to take responsibility with this, which clearly she had already. That's how Chasm is in this book. Anyway, it's written by Steve Fox with art by Jonas Scharf. But go ahead.
Yes. Going. Oh no, just simply, but it does have, this answers a question, I think, definitively about how important Chasm is and what role he will play in the Marvel universe going forward. So please take it away.
Listen, this issue for me,
it's not about Chasm.
It's not really.
If you bought this book because you were like, "Oh, Chasm's in it," well, I am sorry.
Chasm is technically in this.
He is technically in the book and not just on the cover.
And not just on the.
He says
on the
things
cover.
and he appears. He even gets a full page splash.
Right, but this issue does answer a question for me, which was like, Rogue and Gambit are both still on Earth. They're both doing things. They're still married to each other. What's going on with the two of them? And that's how we open this book.
Yeah.
With Gambit going over, like, we get a little like breakdown of Gambit's history. I appreciate it. It's fun. Like, listen, I'll take it anytime. I love Gambit.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
But it's just the two of them. They're still together. Rogue is working with Captain America.
Yes, and the Uncanny Avengers. Yeah.
Yeah. And
which is arguably a pretty bad book.
Well, whatever.
But hey, did you know that it's really did you find out who Captain Krakoa turned out to be?
No.
Yeah. That's exactly who everybody thought it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Unity Squad. That's what she's on.
The Unity Squad.
She's working on the Unity Squad.
Yeah, they never call it Uncanny Avengers. I'm like, just call it that.
No, she's on the Unity Squad. I was like, no, there's a name for it. It's in this because I probably should go read that, but whatever. Yeah. But the two of them are just like, they're just doing their things. And Gambit's excuse is that like it's weird for him to be the most morally just person on a team. He's like, how this is probably bad, right?
I'm the bad boy of the X-Men, or at least I'm one of the 12.
Right. And now I'm like the moral compass.
Yeah, that's a problem or weird.
Not good, right?
Yeah.
But he is working with Madeline Pryor in the Limbo Embassy because he's like, listen, Rogue's worried for him based on the people surrounding him. She's like, you are in danger. And I'm not okay with that. And he's like, but we're doing good because we are able to find other mutants and some of them take the invitation and some don't, and like we're doing something and I need to keep going.
Yeah.
Like I need to do that. And like, there's this new girl who was from Children of the Atom, that book that
nobody read. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's here and, like, I want to make sure she's okay because Madeline's taking kind of a shine to her and they're trying to be a little bit of a Charles Xavier for her. And he's like, I got to stay here. And, Rogue's like, but I got to go back. She's like, I could make a plea to Cap to get you and that girl in.
Right.
But then she's got to go.
Yeah.
So I'm like, cool. Appreciate that. Thank you for that little, just touch it in. You know, like, exactly. What's going on between the two? We also make sure to reinforce the fact that it's like Azazel or Azazel.
Yeah, it's Azazel.
Azazel. And Emplate, there's something going on there.
Oh.
Where like Emplate either owes him something or his family. Okay. Something like that. But like there's a contract.
Oh.
And Emplate's almost to the point where he's like, I don't care anymore.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right.
Uh-oh.
Right. We just check in with a whole bunch of characters. I appreciate that. Like Havoc's a disaster.
Of course.
Like he just keeps getting hurt and they're just like Frankensteining putting him back together. And
God.
I'm like, but Havoc needs a break, man. He just needs a rest.
Yeah.
Maddie got an opportunity to like come out the other side better.
Yeah.
In a better headspace. And Havoc's just a disaster. Mm-hmm. Like it's just sorry, man. But as we know, Orcus has the Goblin Queen. I almost called her the Queen Goblin.
I know.
So while I was
which is a different character.
While I was reading, I kept calling her the Queen Goblin because I was like, well, she's not the Goblin Queen. She's the Queen Goblin.
Right.
She's
she is the Goblin Queen.
She's the Goblin Queen.
Yeah.
They have the one from Secret Wars, and they're like relying on her to try to get into the Limbo Embassy and to kind of shut that down, but it hasn't really been going well. And the agents who have been like relying on her kind of at their end, Agent Kroll and Valens, we're not sure what their deal is, but they got something going on for sure. But she's got a plan, and it involves using a mutant who I think his name's Abyss, and he basically has like a black hole kind of thing going on, so like a cold, lifeless dimension. He's a gateway. His body is, and they weaponize it.
Oh no!
And it like sucks up like Maddie and Havoc and Gambit, and there's just a bunch of key players here, right?
Okay,
but not all of the Dark X-Men, just a few of them, right? And then it turns out that's like one of Azazel's kids.
Oh no!
Right, and which we'll use that later on, but this gives them an opportunity for Orcus and those agents and the crazy looking Madeline Pryor and her Nightcrawler xenomorph. I can't not see it as like a Nightcrawler xenomorph. It's just what it looks like to me.
They probably want you to think that.
They want me to think that, right?
Yeah.
They get into the embassy, and they're there for several reasons. She wants to take over. She's killing the mutants that they save left and right. And the agents are there to free Chasm, because they're like, we'll free Chasm. And Chasm's got a beef with Madeline Pryor. And so like, we'll have him as a backup, even though you already just took care of her. But I guess they realized it probably wasn't going to take anyway. So like, or maybe they're like, that'll also get this other one under control. Like, I don't know. Like, let's free him. He will be down for this, because essentially in the Limbo Embassy, that's where Chasm is. Madeline has him there. He basically just hangs out. He sits and he mopes.
Yes.
And like plans his vengeance for her.
Yes, of course.
Right. And he shows up.
Yep.
Or like he comes out.
Kaboom.
Like just bam, ready to go. Like just jumps into the fight. He's like, listen, I know I have not had my finger on the pulse of what is going on, but I recognize that logo, and I'm not a jerk.
Right.
I mean, I'm a jerk.
But I'm
not that much of a jerk. You guys are jerks.
Yes.
And they're like, but we thought, like maybe you wanted to. He's like, no, yeah, I have like an issue with some mutants, but not all of them. So I'm going to wait it out in here. Yep. Bye.
Well, he even makes a little crack about it, where he says, like, I've had my fill of goblins.
Yeah.
And then leaves.
And he leaves.
And he leaves the book.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm good. No, thank you.
He basically says, yeah, I heard you guys wanted to put me in your book, but I will have none of it. And then leaves the book.
Yeah, no, I'm not, no, no.
Oh, okay, cool.
Just remember I'm in here at some point. And then unleash me. Yeah. Unleash me. But remember that thing I said about Azazel and him being Abyss's dad? And Abyss is like, he's like, oh, like oh, the pain, all of it, right? And he's just like, hey, what's your name again? Like it is literally that. He's like, Nils, is it Nils? I don't know. I listen. I'm no one's great dad. All right. Like I have a lot of you out there. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna kill you, Crack. He just kills him. I'm like, oh. 10 out of 10, you're on a list somewhere, a father of the year for sure. But it frees those who are trapped inside of him. And like Maddie like really has like an issue with this. She's like, I have a lot of anger right now.
Right.
So I'm just going to assume you knew that would free us and you weren't just killing him. He's like, all right,
meh.
Sure.
I couldn't care less.
I'm a dick.
Yeah.
Why not? So this is, of course, where we're going to get Maddie versus Maddie.
Yes.
Like in the next book. That's the promise of this. I do love this where she comes inside and like the Secret Wars Madeline Pryor is sitting on a throne made out of the corpses of the mutants that she killed.
Yeah.
She's like, yay, I'm in charge now.
She got red Spawn.
What? Yeah.
But it's fun. Yeah. It's dark.
It's dark. It works for me.
Yeah.
It is promising everything it was meant to be. I appreciate that Gambit still gets to remain who he is.
Yes.
Like I'm like, we're making this work. It makes sense for the two of them to be apart. They're just trying to do the best that they can. This book is making me feel really bad for Havoc, which I just didn't see coming.
No, it's rare.
I'm like, I feel bad. I feel really bad for Havoc.
Yeah.
Like,
who'd have thought?
Right? I'm like, but my dude just needs a break.
Yeah.
I don't know where we send him. He needs to go somewhere.
Well, it used to be Krakoa, but
he's not anymore.
Not anymore.
He just needs to relax.
Yeah. Send him wherever Vulcan is. Just send him into space.
No, Vulcan is on Araco right now.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, that's space.
No, but Apocalypse pulled him into like they forced a spell upon him to make the island that walks.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Andrew Forster. Thank you for your support. And he says, saw Benny's post about maybe shutting down Comic Story. Wanted to know your thoughts on in relation to Comic Pop. Should fans be worried this may be coming for Comic Pop? And how do we best show support? Well, Andrew Forrester, I'm glad you brought this up because there was no organic way for me to bring it up myself. And also, of course, thank you for your support. That
thank you.
But here's the thing about that. Comic Pop is in no danger of shutting down outside of people who I rely on desperately to make the channel relevant and interesting. That is to say, Ben, Tiffany, and Ethan. Without them, I feel like the channel would drop significantly, but I feel like some of you are here to see at least the two of us share our opinions, and we do that every week. And there's so many incredibly generous and kind people in the chat now, and who watch the show after the fact, who use super chats and show support, or just chat and leave comments. Those of you who watch the show, you are a testament to the fact that there's some staying power here. I have not seen any trends affecting the channels to indicate that we are in dire straits. If there are any troubles to come, they will come from within, not from without. And I expect that if there's issues, it'll be in the form of like algorithm changes. It'll be from some kind of a COPPA or other issue, but like I don't see any issues with pandemics, with lockdowns or external factors outside of that. We're doing fine. Not like great, but we're never doing great. You know what I mean? And when I say great, like it's great in relation to us. Like we're doing fine as a pair of small channels, but it's funny. I was actually watching something where somebody was looking at it was a video tutorial talking about like modern YouTube and how it works today, and this person was explaining his method, and he was like, "Here's my channel like when it was a complete failure, and his numbers were better than our numbers are." And I was like, right on. But he had like 4 million or 14 million subscribers, something like that.
Right. Okay.
Like in proportion, he's like, I want to see how you could ever possibly do this. But for us, it's like we live modestly. We don't exceed our grasp, and we, try to foster a positive community without like exploitation. And I think that that's served us well. And I think that, an old mentor of mine used to say, "Cream rise to the top." Like people will stay for quality, and while I'm sure there's a vocal minority of people who think that is not us, I think that there's a larger percentage of folk like out there who are watching this show or watch back issues or watch Off the Rack or Elseworlds Exchange or a number of things we produce, and they think, no, I like this and I'm willing to support it by watching the show. Because right now that's the best way to do it. Like the best way to support us is just by watching the show, which is like exactly how I want that kind of interaction to occur. I want this channel to succeed in a transactional way where we make the content and you watch the effing content. Like that's for me the best kind of transaction, right? These other steps, super chats, Patreon, et al. Those are the two. We don't have a merch store yet, but we are working on it. But that's another arm that would be a factor, but it's not right now. But those two arms, those are additional.
Yeah.
I will say that Patreon did help, especially during the troubles, like during bad times, COPPA algorithm changes, significant changes. They help to offset. Yes. They offset the cost. When YouTube, here's a quick behind the scenes thing. Nobody cares, but like, here you go. Because I do this for a living, I know it, and I can give symposiums on it, but like, no one's paying for that. So it used to be up until about like 2017, there were like arcs of ad revenue spikes and dips. There should be a spike happening essentially from now until January, like 1st, December 30th, really, where we'd see the highest numbers of like ad revenue and views.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, the holidays, people are spending more, advertisers spending more to get more people to, buy things. And then dips come from January, and then but then there's a swell around spring, and then there's a dip in the summer. That used to be kind of like a thing you could almost set your watch to, but you could be like, if you ever saw, oh my God, like the views are down. Oh, right. It's summer.
Right.
That explains it. Or like, oh my God, I'm seeing unprecedented, like, or at least I'm seeing an increase in revenue. It's because it's the holiday season. But that is not the case anymore. That's just completely out the window. And the reason why it's out the window is for the same reason that inflation is insane, or that like nobody can afford a car. It's because the world is topsy-turvy, and any time that there's like an opportunity for you to like set your watch to anything that might actually benefit you, you know, the system flips and shakes you off and tries to come up with another method to like keep you out.
Right.
So it's like, you know, that's not the case anymore. So like things like Patreon or super chats or, you know, at all, you know, those examples, those help to offset the uncertainty of the market. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that does help, but we are not in a position to close the channels. Like if there are any discussions about that, you know, we won't make that your problem.
No,
you know, like we wouldn't, you know, we're not going to like make an announcement or anything like that, but we're working on it. You know, like I'm pleased. Every year we have more subscribers than we did.
Yeah.
Every year we make a little more money than we did the previous year, except for COVID. And full transparency, we did really well during COVID.
People had more time.
People
to
were
watch.
home. Everybody was home.
More time to watch.
I know.
You know, time is a resource,
right?
And there's only so much of it.
But you know, and that was nice. It was a bad time for everybody, but at least I could eat. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And if you are worried, but if you want to worry about it, the best way to help is just watch the show.
Yeah.
You know, or add it to your watch later list. You know what I mean? Like
or share it with a friend.
Or share it with a friend. You know, but you know, you don't have to break your back promoting us. You don't have to give, you know, oh, I got my student loans were repaid, I'm going to give them $20,000. Like don't dump money into the Patreon. Don't dump money into super chats. You know, if you want to help,
trust me, they are appreciated.
It is appreciated, and it goes to this.
Yeah,
you know?
that's the only place it goes.
That's all. Well,
it's just all
because this is that. Because
that
is this. Like this, you know, all of it. It all goes back into the infrastructure. So, you know, like because of the growth and because of the Patreon change, like we were able to pay Ben and Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's great.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel better about it.
Yeah.
Like, because I was always sweating it. You know, we'd go out to dinner after the shoots, and I go, "You sure you don't want another one? You sure you don't want another, you know, want another cruller or something? Because I'm not paying you right now, so you know, just eat up."
Yeah.
Because I'd be paying for dinner, but now now I can give them like a stipend. It's not a salary. We're not, you know, we're not in that world.
No, but it's something.
But it's something, and it shows like appreciation. It shows that there's a value to what they're doing. So yeah, Brendan O'Brien, happy birthday, Tiffany.
Thank you.
The entire ComPop community admires your kindness and the support time you give to the channel. Thank you very much, Brendan. Cheers and enjoy your day.
Thank you so much. Right. That's so sweet. Thank you.
It is indeed. Rami Darwish, happy birthday, Tiffany, and happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. Dex Baker, so I went to see the Marvels solely because of the show. That I assume it's our show. For context, I love comics but dislike the tone of the MCU. I've seen 2 MCU movies in theaters. However, I loved this movie. Disney Marvel owes you marketing money.
Yeah,
that's very kind. Thank you very much.
We're just happy to promote it. You know, people,
because we enjoyed it.
Yeah, we enjoyed it, and we want to share, you know, positive vibes. Yeah, when we can.
Exactly. But thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for your support.
So glad you went and enjoyed it. I'm
yeah,
glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly. Pop Culture Guy 3000. Spider-Man 10 established Bailey was a superhero in training for 1 to 2 years before his life was retconned. Okay, there you go. Check that out if you're interested in more information about Bailey. Ray Farr, I thought they were Minnie the Fawn statues. That is to say, your earrings. Well, they're not.
No, it's like Hoth Leia, and I think it's just a standard.
It's just Han.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stupid sandwich. And so now we have 2 corrupted Spider-Men. How long do I have to wait now for the Slingers to return? Happy birthday, Tiffany.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, man. The Slingers are like, I think just any time. You know, there's always a great time. Although, if you were wondering about the Slingers, I think Jeffrey Thorne wrote a Slingers like one-shot or like small, like, you know, very brief series about them. So if you were interested, go back and find that book. If he's in the chat, just tell him.
Yeah.
Revolutionary Dragon. Hey, ComicPop, do you think DC has a similar mandate for Batman when it comes to relationships like Marvel does with Spider-Man? I don't know. I think it's much more loose than it was with Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man has there is kind of like a mandate. There is like an official, but I don't think it's like on the masthead. I don't think it's like etched in stone. I think it's more like the people who were in charge created a culture in which that was the understanding. I think that after like those who were in charge, who felt that way, no longer were in charge, then it was more like a loose guideline. I think that's how you got things like Nick Spencer just opening his first issue with Mary Jane and Spider-Man kissing.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think there was like some kind of math involved with the administration at Marvel about what to do with that relationship. And I think officially there probably is not anything about Mary Jane and Peter, but I think that like very unofficially, there's kind of an understanding. It's more like a conjecture. With Batman, I think it's very similar to like a loose kind of, I don't think anyone at DC gives a crap about who Batman is making out with. I genuinely think that like DC, they're just like, who cares? Because and it's very similar to like how I feel about Batman. Like I remember when like Batman was seeing Vicky Vale in like the regular monthly or weekly books, and I was like, I couldn't care less, and neither could that. You could tell Alan Gray couldn't care less, and like very much got rid of her as quickly as he possibly could.
Right.
It's like this. Batman is not like a romantic action adventure story. Like he is not Indiana Jones. He is not Spider-Man. It's not going to work here. And when it is, it's like it feels weird, you know. But I also think that like there was a discussion about like the wedding. I think that the wedding was a thing where they like
for sure.
But I think I think that like that was like the first time anyone had a genuine conversation about it. I don't think that they're like Batman will never be married or Batman will never be in a committed relationship. I think it's more like, you want that? Like I think people at DC are like, wait, what? Like is that a thing we need to worry about now? Ah, shit. And that's them.
Right.
Moni Singh gave you a slice of cake.
Thank you.
A birthday cake. How nice.
I'll take it.
Dante Cook, happy birthday, Tiffany, and happy holidays. Happy holidays to you too, Dante. I hope all your days are epic, awesome, and joyful. Well, thank you. I think it might be exhausting, but I do appreciate it anyway. I'll take great.
Absolutely.
Tiffany, do you plan on checking out Spirit World by Alyssa Wong? I believe that both the art and story are right up your alley.
I'll probably pick it up in trade. I think it's been a few issues in, and I think I'm just going to grab that in trade. But I do know what you're talking about. I know a DC. I think that was a DC book, correct? If I'm right about that, then I think I know what you're talking about. And if I'm not, then I don't know what you're talking about.
Dylan S. Love the channel, guys. Happy birthday, Tiffany. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you.
Mordecai, we've talked about this before. Saw the Madam Web trailer and immediately realized it's a loose adaptation of the first Mattie Franklin arc, the only time 616 Web regained her youth. Web's granddaughter is out trying to kill other Spider-Women, except now it's Zeke. Weird choice, Sony. I think you're hitting on something there, but there is a whole discussion about like Uncle Ben is in the trailer. I think that they want it to be like they're trying to kill Peter Parker like when he's a baby, so it's more like Terminator. And you know,
what are they gonna do with that Peter baby?
What are they gonna do with that Peter baby? Hopefully save him.
But Spider baby.
Dude. That trailer, you know, the least of the problems is the plot. That movie looks like the Birds of Prey show from 2003. Fear and Loathing in general. Happy Tiffany.
Thank you.
We're still waiting for Fall Sunrise back.
Yeah, no, you are. Yeah. For sure. No, that's I'm gonna need to read that over the holidays, reread that, make sure I have a full handle on that, because I know I can't even imagine. I can't get ahead of the questions that Ethan is going to have.
Oh my God.
That's really what it is, right? Like I'm just like, no, just enjoy the story. It's the power of story. Let's enjoy it. And Ethan's gonna be like, okay, yeah, but
right.
So like that's one of those is where it's like I'm gonna have like a keep document filled with notes.
Definitely.
Like on that one, just in case. Like sometimes I have notes on things that he doesn't even ask.
No, it's true.
But like I have to be ready, right?
Yeah.
Like I have to be ready.
Yeah.
You just can't predict him.
No. Kirk Pectus, did you hear Neil Patrick Harris will be Toymaker in Doctor Who? Character's been gone 57 years because of racism, but I think it has huge potential. No, I didn't, but I don't care about Doctor Who, and I've never actually watched more than like half an episode of the show of its like 1,000 episode run, so you
said Toymaker, and I was thinking
like, oh, Toymaker, Toyman from Superman.
Yeah,
no,
I went right there. I was like, that.
No,
okay.
Dante Cook just wanted to give a little more to help keep the lights on. I want ComicPop to last all through 2024 to the year 3000. In the year 3000. Well, thank you, Dante, for your generosity. I do appreciate
Hopefully
it. Hopefully,
we get some Ghost in the Shell tech going on there. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I don't like the idea of like phantom limb syndrome for my entire body, but I do it anyway.
I don't care.
Devin Ferris, happy birthday, Tiffany. Love the channels and all you do for the community. I'll be here for you guys for the long haul. The vocal minority can suck it.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Let's recommend some comics that are coming out this week that we think you should check out. I have a metric shit ton of them, so let's jump into it.
Yeah, you go first, man. I'm going to sit here.
The Alternates #3 is coming out from Tim Seeley and Jordan Blum. Jordan Bloom and Patton Oswalt with art by Christopher Mitten. This is and Tess Powler. This is a great book. It's a really fun series. It's a very like classic Vertigo. Daredevil Black Armor #1 is coming out from D.G. Chester with art by Netho Diaz. The art by Netho Diaz looks awesome, and I was a sucker for this art or for this armor when I was a kid when it came out. But it represents the worst stories in Daredevil's entire history. Like, it was... Daredevil books were never worse than they were during this time.
So then why are you recommending it?
I have to see.
Okay.
I have to know if D.G. Chichester is going to pull a Mackie or a Conway. Like, is it going to be that he, like, hasn't changed at all in 30 years?
Yep.
Or can he reinvent himself?
Okay.
Because I haven't seen a book by D.G. Chichester in a long time.
Okay.
But I will be, I'll be checking this out.
Okay.
I don't even know what this is supposed to be, but I just wanted to see what it was. Marvel Superhero Secret Wars Battle World #1 from Tom DeFalco with art by Pat O'Leaf. I have no idea what this is supposed to be, but I have to know, so I'll read it. It's 36 pages, so why not? I like that stuff. Old pals Ethan S. Parker and Griffin Sheridan and Bob Quinn are continuing their series Kill Your Darlings with issue #3. If you like off-kilter, bizarro, kind of like, Life is Strange-esque comics, you may enjoy Kill Your Darlings. And, of course, DC wouldn't be complete without yet another event that nobody asked for. So let's check out Titans Beast World Evolution #1. I'm going to read it just to see how it goes. It's from Bob Haney with art by Bill Molno. These are all names I've never heard of in my life, and I can't wait to check it out. I just had to know more about Carnage #1 because I loved the cover. This is from Torren Grombeck with art by Pete Perez. I just really like the cover, so I'm gonna check that out as well.
Judging a book by its cover, and I'm here
100%. Sensational She-Hulk #2 is coming out from Rainbow Roll with art by Andres Genolay. I can't believe I missed the first issue, so I'll have one more to check out and see how that goes.
How will you find the time for all of these?
I read fast. For example, I have read already Batman Off-World #1 from Jason Aaron with art by Doug Mankey. If you have not heard of Jason Aaron doing a solo Batman series, it's a mini series with art by Doug Mankey in which Batman goes into space and fights aliens. You need to read this book. I read it and it's friggin' dope. I don't know if I love Batman's motivation, but I love the issue, and we'll talk more about it in detail next time. Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong #2 is coming out. You liked it. We'll see how it goes.
I was gonna recommend that.
All right, fine. Wonder Woman #3, obviously. I like this book too. I championed this book. I almost killed Tom King's career over this book.
How many issues am I going to be recommending though?
There's plenty.
Know. Oh, is there? Am I in trouble?
Wonder Woman #3 is coming out. This is a great series. The art keeps getting better. Daniel Sampere is just incredible. They're lucky to have him over at DC. Superman #8 from Joshua Williamson with art by Jamal Campbell and David Baldion and Gleb Melenkov. I really enjoyed this issue. I've already read it. It's a lot of fun. Definitely check it out if you get a chance. If you like classic Superman and you want to keep the series going, you should. Batman Superman World's Finest 21. Okay, so like young Batman and Superman go to a Kingdom Come reality where they bump into younger but still older than them Batman and Superman within the context of their Kingdom Come reality, but it's also different. It's really fun. Of course, Dan Mora's drawing it with art by with writing by Mark Waid. This is a series that, like, you should, if you like Batman and Superman, you should be reading all 21 issues of the series. Just go do it. Nightwing 108 is coming out from Tom Taylor. And I'll obviously be reading that because it's an easy read. It takes about like 8 minutes to read the entire series.
Okay. Oh, geez. Okay, you were not kidding that there is plenty coming out. Immortal X-Men #17 is coming out.
With Jean on the cover.
With Jean on the cover. There she is. That's the cover that was hinted at the back of the other one. So if you want more Jean, that's where it's going to be. And if you're reading this series and you're like, what is going on? You may want to go and pick up Jean Grey. Although, admittedly, the X team have been doing really, really well at filling you in where you need to.
Yes.
So I appreciate that. Wolverine 39. Yeah, Wolverine and Black Panther. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Like Wolverine. That's the thing about Wolverine. For such a grumpy guy, he really does team ups quite well.
That's what happens when you're popular.
I guess that's true. I've never been popular, so I wouldn't really know. Uncanny Spider-Man #4 is coming out.
Looks like Spider-Man's coming.
Spider-Man's back on that cover. Let's see. Right? I love this. Spider-Man's a mutant. Okay, not that Spider-Man, but we've got your attention, hey? Like, yep. Cy Sprayer on this, Lee Garbett on art. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I just clicked on this because I had to see what's going on. Attack of the Zombie Ghost Rider.
Yep.
Maybe I'll have to check that out. It depends on how much time I have.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Right.
Just a shout out. I definitely fell off this series, but if you were reading any of the Bone Orchard stuff, Tenement number 6 is coming out, so you may want to go and grab that. No, it seems like maybe I don't have as much as all that.
Yeah.
We'll pick up Wonder Woman because I'm definitely going to read that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm definitely going to read whatchamacallit, Godzilla.
Oh yes,
Justice League Godzilla.
I hope you enjoy it.
Dark Spaces Good Deeds number 6. I like this series. Shay Grayson on writing, Kelsey Ramsey on art. Again, it's another horror book. Listen, I've got to type, everybody. All right, I've got to type. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's who I am. I can't deny who I am. And I'll also talk about Ghost Rider next week. I wanted to keep this episode short, just because when we say short, it means it's still going to be an hour, and it was.
Yes, it was, but it could have been longer if we weren't planning on leaving. Stupid Sandwich also says, Sal, out of Larry Hama's 2 seminal runs, are you most likely to cover his Wolverine run or his G.I. Joe run? I think I did one of his Venom series, and if I haven't, I will be, because woof. But between the two of them, it would probably be Wolverine. I mean, G.I. Joe. I don't know if 80s properties would succeed on back issues. I've wanted to do Ghostbusters forever, and I don't think anyone would watch it. I want to do like He-Man, Master of the Universe. I want to do there's a weird Thundercats book from Wildstorm that I'd love to cover.
Only if they crossed over with like Spider-Man.
Well, I do have Injustice versus Masters of the Universe, which is not what you asked for, but maybe. I do have Master Universe versus Thundercats, which is another one that I really want to cover. There's so many fun 80s properties that are like, what? I want to bring to Ben and Ethan and go like, what? Panthros, what? I don't know what Panthro is. I'm just saying. I know what he is. He's a cat man, but I'm just saying. I don't know what he is in the context of that story.
Sure.
But
okay.
Hey, listen, we want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank Tiffany for spending her birthday doing work for me.
I love it. No, then thank you all so much for your kind birthday wishes and just you're just being really nice. You're nice people.
Yeah, you guys are great.
You're solid people.
True.
Seriously, though. Thank you so much. Best community.
Yeah, easily. But thank you all so much for being here, and thank you for your support. Thank you very much to our super chatters for sponsoring today's show, and of course, thank you for chatting and being respectful and keeping the show going. If you want to watch more, go to twitch.tv/ComicPop and check out Tiffany doing streams, or you watch the repeats of those streams on youtube.com/@ComicPop Plays. We just launched the Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. That's really fun, and then it's alternating between that and Spider-Man.
That's the birth of Gun Devil.
That's right. That's
our OG character.
Yeah,
Gun Devil.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned Dino Saucers. We will never cover Dino Saucers because I contacted those people and I was like, I have a Dino Saucers pitch, and they were like, and they ghosted me. When I say ghosted me, I mean they legitimately didn't respond because they had no business doing that. And then they launched that awful Dino Saucers comic book, and I was like, ha ha ha. That book sucks.
Would you trick them into doing that?
No, I'm just, they clearly had a thing already in the hopper. And I'm like, well, you could have done the thing you invested time, money, and effort into, or you could have thrown it all away for some random YouTuber to talk about your dinosaur men. Clearly, they made the right decision because I think they made $1 off of it, which is more than they would have with me. But anyway. So long, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. And we'll see you guys next time with an all-new episode. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
Bye-bye, everybody. Happy birthday, Tiffany.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.